So in the last class, that is our first day class, we discussed about the introduction to Palo Alto. Okay. So Palo Alto firewall, the main innovations in Palo Alto firewall, the content ID, app ID, user ID, and device ID. Today class, that's our second day class, we'll be studying about the security fundamentals. Security fundamentals. Like some security concepts you need to understand. Before going further, I tried to download one Linux operating system called Kali, K-L-I Kali, from kali.org. This is not for you to do the lab, but you can, just you need to understand that. That's it. Don't do that particular lab. So what I do, I have this particular OS called Kali.Linux, Kali Linux actually. I'm trying to copy this. And I will run this operating system in VMware. Let me copy that later. So when you're going for like security fundamental, the main aim of a cybersecurity administrator, a network administrator, or even a security analyst is CIA. It is like your CIA. Now, when you're going for CIA, it is also known as CIA traits. The C actually, it stands for CIA, yes. C stands for confidentiality. C stands for confidentiality. I stands for integrity. And A stands for availability. It's like an CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, when you're going for like a network, in the last classes, you said network is the interconnection of devices. So I assume I take just a rough diagram. We have a switch, we have a router, okay. In your network, your networks are connected with your firewall. Firewall is connecting with your switches, which we call them like your LAN network. This is your LAN. Again, we have a router. The router is connected to your firewalls and switches. This is also another LAN. So this LAN network is there in your Hyderabad. This LAN network is there in your US. Of course, two networks, two branches are being connected by using with the help of router. So this is your WAN network. Because this is we take the help of service provider to connect. So after you do some routing and so on, the users of LAN can, from Hyderabad, they can communicate with USA. From USA, they can communicate with Hyderabad. But this data can be mitigated. Like what the data is sending and receiving, this data can be breached by the hackers on the network. Yes or no? I have my mobile. You have a mobile. Now you try to send some message in WhatsApp. You try to receive a message in WhatsApp. This data can be hacked by the hackers on the network if that application does not provide some security. Confidentiality ensures only authorized users should able to log in and access the assets. So confidentiality ensures only what? It is going to enable only the authorized users. Authorized users should be able to access what? The asset. Now I'm using one technical word called asset. Now when you say like an asset, it is owned by an organization. No, it is owned by an organization. asset is owned by an organization. So in my IT company, in my this is my office. No, this is completely my Hyderabad office. So in the Hyderabad office, I have a router, we have a firewall, we have some switches, we have servers, we have database server, we have application server, we have CCTV, we have like so many network devices are there. So I have one server is there in Hyderabad, or in USA, in my headquarter, I have one server is there. Now from Hyderabad, I want to access it. So confidentiality ensures only the authorized people only can able to access the devices or the assets. So unauthorized people, who is unauthorized people? A hacker, he should not able to access this particular device actually. Hacker should not access. So confidentiality is enriched by one particular service called VPN, Virtual Private Network. So you should know how to configure VPN from firewall, from one source, from Hyderabad to US, from US to Hyderabad. So confidentiality means like we can encrypt all the data. What the data is going from Hyderabad to US, USA to Hyderabad, the data can be encrypted by using one particular service called VPN, Virtual Private Network. What VPN does, you studied in your CCNA classes or networking classes. VPN creates a tunnel, or VPN creates a one private network on the public network. So now the data, the physical connectivity is service provider, but it makes a private network. So when the IP packet is coming, it removes the public IP, it is going to add the private IP address. So the private IP address, the packet is sent, and all the data is encrypted. Then the destination is trying to decrypt the data and sends to that particular user actually. So that's why in your mobile, when you send a message to me in WhatsApp, this is like end-to-end encryption is provided. So the VPN uses the IPsec protocol to encrypt the data. IPsec has different types of the like ESP and authentication header. It's an interview question. While you are configuring VPN, which type of VPN protocol you do choose? Lokesh, which type of VPN protocol you are going to choose? So when you are going for like any the difference between we use ESP and HA, but ESP is completely encrypts the packet. HA does not encrypt completely the packet. HA do provide something called integrity and authentication. See here, the primary difference between KH, authentication header, ESP, encapsulation security payload. Authentication header provides integrity and authentication, but not confidentiality. Means encryption. KH does not encrypt the payload. Why ESP? No, this is your networking CCNA information, knowledge. You should have this. We'll try to study this VPN in firewall. Site-to-site VPN, global protect VPN, I'll teach you in the last day classes. So ESP encapsulation security payload offers both confidentiality, such as encryption, authentication, and protecting the data payload. Actually, the ESP completely encrypts the complete packet actually. Oh,
Sir, sorry for the interruption.
last class, yeah.
The last class, yesterday you have said one term that is called wildfire. So could you please explain me once, like what will be the purpose to you wildfire in the Palo Alto?
Kumar, actually, okay, not Kumar, our Harsh, no, Kunal, yeah.
Yes,
Kunal,
Kunal.
our wildfire. Okay, let me tell Lokesh also. Lokesh, actually, Palo Alto Firewall, they do support one security profile name is called wildfire analysis. Wildfire analysis. So when they are going for like wildfire analysis, okay, when they are going for like wildfire analysis is a cloud-based threat analysis service maintained by Palo Alto Firewall. So to say, it's a cloud-based threat analysis service actually maintained by Palo Alto Firewall. So this wildfire actually, they try to detect the latest type of malware, and if any malware is there, it is going to be blocked. That is the main purpose actually.
Sir, we have that in our syllabus
Yeah,
for this
we
week's
do.
CNSC.
Yeah.
Okay.
I teach.
Okay.
So coming for the security fundamentals, the main the aim of the security administrators are CIA. C stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality ensures only the authorized users can access the assets, and asset is owned by an organization. And accessing the devices on public network, accessing the data is more secured by using VPN. So VPN stands for virtual private network. So once this data is sent and received, now once the users are logged in, and once they're trying to access this data from one branch to another branch, this data can be mitigated or being hacked. So the data should not be mitigated by any third persons in the world. So integrity ensures data is not mitigated. Data is not mitigated or modified naturally. So the hackers on the world in the internet, they try to once you, even if you configure through VPN and so on, they try to break the tunnel and get the access the data. So once they try to break the things, doing something called session hijacking type of attack, or man in the middle attack, or maybe like system hacking, or maybe like you have a database hacking. If they're trying to do some different types of the attacks, actually, all these type of attacks, actually, you should be able to block them. Okay, there is a hacker on the internet. So we don't allow this hacker not to access your assets or data, information or anything. And we don't allow this user not to access our data. So what other type of danger that he can do? He can try to crash the router, or maybe a firewall, or a switch, or a server, or maybe you like whatever the assets that you're using in the company, he try to damage them. Means he's trying to do something called DOS attack or DDoS attack, and he will try to crash those services. To avoid that, you need to configure something called availability. That is called HA. HA, it ensures 24/7 devices are operational. Devices are operational. So 24/7. How devices are operational? 24/7. To all devices should be working. Okay. Like we have two routers are there. If one router fails, I need to have another router as a backup. If one firewall, maybe they try to crash, I need to have another firewall as a backup. Like everything, you need to find something called redundancies. So availability is enriched by some another service called HA. In firewalls, we call them as a high availability, redundancy, backup, RAID controller in servers. We have like so many services, or no, so many names are said. CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Asset is owned by an organization. Every asset, sometime they may have something called what? Vulnerability. vulnerability. We see these words. We are going in your next classes, we are going to learn this. What is we are going to use these terminologies. So those things now only we have to understand. Vulnerability, actually, it is a weakness of an asset. It is a weakness. It is a weakness of the asset actually. Now, say for example, I am using in my computer. For example, I am using like a Windows 10. So if I'm using like Windows 10, Windows 10 is vulnerable. According to the Microsoft directly, they say how to use Windows 11 only. Systematically speaking, this is my personal computer, no issue. I don't want to buy Windows 11 OS, so I'm going with Windows 10. But in the offices, you cannot use Windows 10. You should say Windows 10 is vulnerable for the hackers easily because Microsoft applications are there. Like for example, operating system is an application, it's a system software. So the system software can be breached by the hackers. Whatever the applications that you installed, maybe you install Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, or maybe Recycle Bin is an application is running. So maybe hackers, they can find what is the vulnerability of this particular application and they can hack your device. Vulnerability. So whenever a device has a vulnerability, the attackers, like what they do, they create something called exploit. Exploit is it is a program. Exploit, it is a program or code, or also can be or an application. Hackers, like where they use this particular exploit or a code, to access a particular device actually. Exploits are there on the internet. And also an exploit also can be a malware. What is a malware? Malicious software. Yes or no? Malicious software it is. A malware can be a virus. A malware can be a virus. A malware can be a spyware. A malware can be an hardware. A malware can be a ransomware. A malware can be a logic Trojan. You see, mostly, very commonly, this type of malware in the internet. In the next lab, what I do, I'll show you a lab. In the lab, how hackers are using this type of malware and how they will hack a device. I'll show you as a live example.